Hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. What I do here is just this casual blogging kind of stuff, where I like to talk my ear off, your ear off, whoever's ears I want to bite off. No, I want to talk off. Um, just because I got nothing else better to really do. And I think talking about what's been going on in my life and what I'm learning helps solidify what I'm learning, and it helps me make sense of the world. And I like sharing my life with the internet, so that I can be immortalized in this ethereal digital network. And perhaps when I die, these YouTube videos will be a semblance of the kind of person that I am. Um, I know that for my friend Rowan, um, some of these videos of him and his girlfriend will probably be shown at their wedding if they do end up getting married. Um, so it's nice having this digital diary um just saved, and get to really see the progression of who I am, who people in my life are. It's pretty cool. Um, Now, if you see the title and the thumbnail for this video, um, I won't I won't keep you waiting too much longer. If you're really into learning about books, because I'm a huge book nerd. Do 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 do. Um, it's what I do most of my time is read books, think about what I read from books, mostly nonfiction books, um, because it's my way to learn about the world because I don't have a lot of life experience, and so I try to compensate by learning about other experiences and learning about things, traveling the world through the mind. Um, yeah, um, not a lot of people read books, and like smaller amount read nonfiction books consistently. So I would probably say that like small percentage read books. I don't know, maybe 40% of like North American population, 30%. And then I'd say like 20% consistently read nonfiction, maybe even 10%. Um, and I'd say I'm like probably the 1% in book readers who actively read nonfiction books, annotate a whole bunch in them, um, and just do it a lot. So that's kind of my mindset. Now, first part of this video is I want to talk about some interesting factoids, interesting things um, that I've learned in these books. The first one is the oldest continuing university. The second one is the myth of Alexandria, the burning of Alexandria. And the third is just the origin of uh, the Lion King, the Disney animated movies and now live action. There's actually a oral tradition in it in Africa. So let's get into the first one. Is in the Islam book, it talked about the world's oldest university in Morocco, founded in 1859 by a woman. Can you believe that? By a freaking woman. Um, and it's the center of what's called Sunni um, Islamist uh, tradition. So for Islam, there are two huge sectors. Um, about like 85% of Islam's, maybe 80% are Sunnis, um, and then 15% are Shiites. Uh, so I'm not going to get into the distinction right here, but it's a Sunni university, so hearkens to the majority of Islam's, and the Grand Sheikh of Al Azhar is the highest authority in Sunni Islamic jurisprudence and thought. So Islamic law and governance. So I think that's pretty cool. The second one is the burning of Alexandria. Uh, Now it's in the African history book, because Alexandria is in Egypt, and Egypt is uh, North African. So apparently, this book um, talks about how there wasn't one grand burning of the Great Library of Alexandria, or if you don't know, the Alexandria um, in Egypt was a collected all of the world's uh, information um, during like very old, like before Christ and after Christ. Um, but so it was a central hub for learning from like mathematics, astronomy, philosophy for a long time, medicine. Um, but talked about how there wasn't one single burning, but there were, excuse me, multiple burnings that happened over the ages, but those aren't like what's really important here. What's important for the story is that it just kind of got neglected. People just kind of forgot about it and stopped caring. Um, and it talked about how um, like Christian crusaders would come in. Well, not like the crusaders, like the official ones, but like just Christian missionaries just um, burned a lot of the books that they disagreed with that didn't fit into their religious ideology. But yeah, between neglect and disagreements of the contents, it it just got run down, and a lot of the books and papyri, like papyrus, the um, scrolls, the like paperish material that was most commonly used to write things down in the ancient world, just deteriorated over the ages. And then the last part is the origin of the Lion King, um, also in the Black History book, where um, this guy named Sandiata Kita, I'm sure I'm butchering that, uh, started to uh, founded the Mali Empire, um, and just through like so parents got murdered um, by the Samang Guru, and this guy just he founded an army and came back with a revenge and gained support and um, eventually just ruled this vast territory over uh, northwestern Africa. Uh, there's like a rough map to see, and the Mali Empire eventually became uh, one of the richest empires in history. Um, I'm sure a lot of history buffs know about the king Mansa Musa, where Mansa Musa made a pilgrimage, the Hajj, to the holy city of Mecca, the center of Islam. Uh, so on this journey to Mecca, um, uh, Mansa Musa shared a lot of his wealth with people in Egypt and across the Islamic world, causing gold inflation as he went, just because he gave out so much gold um, to everyone. Um, so for a while, he was considered the richest person in history. But I think like modern billionaires like Elon Musk now take the title. Um, but how does this relate to The Lion King? Well, um, Sandiata Keita, the first Mali emperor, um, or Mansa, uh, his story is very similar to the modern story of The Lion King, and so um, scholars seem to believe that um, the Lion King protagonist is based off of Sandiata Tita. So that's kind of cool, right? Now, enough storytelling. I'm sure I'm butchering this, but you know what? This is my channel, and I'm learning to improve myself, to communicate ideas, to educate. Uh, yeah. So to let's talk about some other books. I got this book in the mail. The Indian mythology and philosophy, the Vedas, Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, Kama Sutra, and how they fit together by Neil Burton. Um, Neil Burton seems to be a prolific um, author right now, writing a shit ton of books. It's like holy. And they're decently reviewed, some of them not the best. Um, uh, there's not really any reviews for this book on Goodreads, so I'm looking forward to being one of the first ones to review it. And just to, I want to learn more about who this author is and what his writing is because I see myself as a scholar in the nonfiction academia, so I want to being cultured in who these significant authors are. But also, like, why I bought this one out of all the other ones is because I want to learn about Hinduism. I want a book to introduce me into the elements of it before I possibly read some of these ancient um, texts. I just want to get like a groundwork of Hinduism because just after reading the Islam book and learning about India, um, and then watching a crash course video about Hinduism, where about 80 to 90% of the Indian population are Hindus. And it's such a vast, complex religion that delves into the multiverse. It's been around for 5,000 years. It's considered the oldest surviving religion. Um, there are countless gods that look pretty cool. Some having 10 heads, having multiple arms, um, being non-binary, um, and them just being very flexible with other faiths and religions. It's it seems like such a cool religion to learn about. It's one of the few surviving polytheistic religions. Polytheism just means multiple gods. Most religions today are monotheistic, meaning that they only believe there's one God, right? I'm I'm agnostic. That's mostly atheistic. Where um I don't believe in spiritual elements, but I could be wrong. I'm open to there being gods and demons and what other spiritual forces out there. But from what I know, there likely aren't. But I'm not going to say that there are not, because who knows? I could be missing um some key important information, some proof. Um, but just from my scientific understanding, there's not solid enough proof. But anyways, back to talking about this book. I have not read anything in it, but it seems pretty cool. Just flipping through pages here, like that looks kind of scary. Um, but like just interesting images, like it's so cool. It's so cool. Um, Another book that I'm going to be getting into reading is fem the feminism book, part of the Big Ideas Simply Explained series. Like I'm such a huge fan of the Big Ideas Simply Explained series, and I've already read like the introduction to it all the way up to page 20. Um, and I just want to learn more about the origins of the feminist movement, uh, like kind of progress that they've made. I want to learn more about the plight of women. I have three older sisters, and I've had many female friends, but none of them have really lasted because feelings get in the way, and I'm a guy. Um, anyways, I I am very much sympathetic to um, what women have to deal with, especially listening to my sisters, my mother, my ex friends, and exes. Um, they, this world isn't built for them. Um, and s- right now, with the whole like Trump thing and conservatism making a comeback, and the woke is dead. Um, and here in Canada, um, things are going down a darker path for women, possibly losing some of their rights and privileges. Um, but actually, in at the end of the Islam book, um, it talked about women in Islam, and women have played a pretty significant role um, in Islam. Like, for example, Muhammad's first uh, wife, uh, Khadija bint Khawalid. Um, I I don't know how to pronounce these names. Um, I don't know if you can really see that, but she was a significant woman, where she was like a pretty wealthy merchant, and she helped fund um the Prophet Muhammad's uh, uh, like journeys and uh, like uh, rise to becoming a prominent figure. She was a very significant woman, and then later on in the book, it talked about the rule of the hijab, um, like the headscarf, the niqab, and the burqa. You can see the three different variants here, and how that's been used as a political tool um, in protests, um, like in countries where it's mandatory, or where it's taboo for a Muslim woman to not wear one of those three variants in public. A lot of women, not a lot, but some women take them off in public as a way to protest. Um, Especially there was a prolific uh, one in the 1920s. Or they put it on where it's taboo to wear it, like in France, uh, United States, the United Kingdoms. But they'll probably talk a bit about that in here. But yeah, I want to know about like the current affairs of like where does feminism stand today? A related book that I read um is Waking Blood uh by Deborah Kay, um or as my mom calls her, Debbie, because she was my mother's friend when we lived in Prince George, British Columbia in Canada. Um, she gave this book that she wrote to my mom. My mom didn't really enjoy, care for it, but my mom had preconceived expectations because Debbie, or Deborah, is like a university professor. Um, and so my mom thought, oh, this is going to be very formulaic, academic, at the book, structured. But it's not what I found. I thought this was pretty interesting dive into um, the life of a young woman, mm, during the early 20th early 21st and late uh, 20th century. Um, Talks about depression, um, uh, like giving birth, raising kids, longing for for her her lovers. It was weird, and I read this to take a break from reading about like science and knowledge, but on the very second page, where she of her poems, she uses the words uh uh this ancient hair traces itself back to tangled seaweed, tickling great white bellies as they whoosh past, and dreams of ocean origins, protozoan flagella, wiggling, flippering in the sea. Wingles goose, down you could make a comforter out of spermatozoan tails pinched in barrettes, sprouting whisker sensings of the dog that bit you. It's like using very like scientific jargon that I know what she means. I think it's funny where it's like, oh God, I can't escape it even when I try to. Um, but if you're into um poetry or what it's like to live as a young woman, um, I'd recommend uh checking out Waking Blood. Yeah. Um, Now some other books that I've read um is How the Brain Works, also by DK. Um, but I did not really enjoy this book. Like it's very colorful. Um, like it's really good at using like diagrams and just like capturing um your imagination. But I found the information in it lackluster, lack lacklustering, lackluster. Just like I'll just talk about something and then just drop it and like, huh? Like what was the point of about that? Um, or they'll have like these info boxes up here. They'll just like ask a question and then answer it, but sometimes they don't even really answer their question. Um, I thought it was okay, and I feel like I'm a lot more informed about the brain and how it works and its various parts, and there are so many names um uh to keep in mind, like the anterior cingulate cortex, um the suprachiasmatic gyrus, uh um yeah. Um, Basal ganglia. There are so many names. But it was good overall, but I gave it 2 stars out of 5 on Goodreads. It just there just wasn't enough like substance there. There wasn't enough connective tissue. Um, it just felt very random and just it's missing depth. But I mean, I think a, a lot of other people would enjoy it. Um, so I've also read last week I finished the military history book, Big Ideas Simply Explained. And yeah, wow. War is absolutely awful. Um, just absolutely awful. It was kind of tough to stomach some of the things that they talked about in this book, but it was good to learn about the major wars in history, like the Crusades, and how awful the Crusaders were. Yeah, but it talks about the Japanese samurai. Um, yeah, the South American warfare. Um, Apparently, um, I think it's the Mayans that used what's called flower warfare, and so they'd be all dressed up in like uh, battle decoration dresses, paints, whole shebang, and they would reenact warfare, but it's like whoever's the best reenactor wins. Um, and so that's how they they could go to war. but avoid a lot of bloodshed. Um, yeah, it's this book I think is an important read, especially since it goes into the modern Russian-Ukrainian war and learning about the drones, and it goes into the modern Palestine, uh, the Israeli-Palestine conflict, and that's like really important to understand, like what's like uh, sorry, like what's happening in there, and just a tricky, just stupid way that war in that region is just being perpetuated. Um, yeah, the other day when I was just watching the news talking about war, I just I just thought to myself, I'm just so not interested in like I have no patience for conflicts like this. Um, where both sides just hate each other and aren't trying to come to an understanding. There's no room for dialogue, and it's just at that point it seems like they're just going through the motions. Yeah, here in my mouth. They're just going through the motions of just warfare. Um, and it's causing so much human tragedy and suffering. And it's just why? And it's just stress, survival, anger, these very carnal human emotions. But it's also to um, have control, power over this domain of land that these people value. And people just want a lot of control over this specific piece of land. It just stop. Just stop already. Yeah, like with me, I don't live in absolutes where I don't believe that the world exists in absolutes, right? There's some things that are like irrefutable that cannot be denied, but there's a lot of gray and like there's a lot of uncertainty. And so I exist in the realm of like I'm not entirely certain that I have all the facts right and that this thing that we hold as true is absolutely true and there's no wiggle room. Um, and it seems like a lot of people they have their minds set on things. They're determined about this one thing, and it's just antithetical to who how I think. And so I don't really have patience for that. But to another book, um, another big ideas simply explained book that I read not too long ago is the chemistry book. Um, and wow, like just learning about the evolution of chemical structures and our um uh like concepts of what matter is um and how it's impacting us today. um it's so cool. It's so freaking cool. Because chemistry is the science of change. Um, it's the science of matter changing form and um, what it's capable of. And I think what's really important is understanding that and understanding components of chemistry because we are all chemistry. Like everything you see here is built up through chemical bonds. Chemical molecules that are packed tightly together or loosely together. everything in the world is chemical. Just like how some people will say everything in the world is political. Now, if you believe that or not, that's a more of a philosophical statement. But this, everything in the world is chemical, is pretty true. Um, and so I think it's really important to understand chemistry. Um, another book, another orange book that I'm going to get into reading is the food book. The science, the stories, science, and history of what we eat. Um, I want to have a better relationship with food. Um, and I want to be a lot more conscientious of what I eat and like have better grocery lists. Like it's like it's a pretty like cool book to get into with like a lot of imagery to just soak in um and just to think about and a lot of text to go along with it to inform. Um yeah, just I just love reading so much because it's my world right now. Um, as I am spending less time on screens, um, I'm spending a lot more time in my head and just sometimes just staring at these images. Um, like I think it's in this book, um, where I had to just stop and stare at not this book, the image of the bombing of Hiroshima. Um, like not not a lot of us just like sit with these images, uh, where we just have to acknowledge the destruction, devastation, uh, that this has caused is the great bombs that got dropped at the end of World War II. Okay, it's actually in the chemistry book, with talking about chemistry, nuclear reactions, but then that's the bomb. Yeah. I watched a YouTube video like several months ago, talking about the stories of the victims that survived in the vicinity of the bomb, like not the ones that got immediately pulverized, but the ones that were further away but got blasted. And just thinking, just looking at that cloud and just the amount of pain. Uh, yeah, it's sad. It's sad, and the civilians of that of Japan didn't deserve that. Um, but it was a the U.S. president thought it was a necessary evil to save lives, because his informants um, generated uh, estimates about like if the United States if the United States didn't drop that bomb, then they would have gone to full on war with Japan and would invade Japan. Um, and like I think the statistics were um, if they went to war with them, it would kill about like 315 thousand people, but dropping that bomb would kill like 200,000 people, um, mostly Japanese, which, um, saving American lives versus Japanese lives. Yeah, it's it's a very um, tricky question. Um, kind of like the Okay, I'm sorry, this may sound insensitive, but it's like the whole Joel and Ellie question in The Last of Us. Like, um, did uh, if you don't know, The Last of Us is a It's not a zombie, but I'm going to say it's a zombie video game, and TV show where the father figure killed a whole hospital to save his daughter. That would be the cure for the um, zombie apocalypse, but she would die in the process. Now, doing that is wrong because he killed a lot of lives and he killed a lot more because he didn't save those lives from the infections. Um, but he cares a lot for her, so he chose to do it. Um, and it's kind of similar to dropping that bomb, because like, which lives are you choosing to save? Uh, yeah, I'm like, I don't know what the right answers to either of those two are. Um, it it it's a very subjective answer, um, about who you are in those scenarios. Um, yeah. Anyways, not to get too depressing here, but that's pretty much my book haul for right now. Gotta love some black coffee. Yeah, let's just sit here for a little bit. You can fast forward it if you want to. Um, but collect yourself, collect myself. Yeah, I've been talking for 40 minutes. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I know no one in their right mind watches this far in, into videos like this, especially when they see me faltering. Um, but I'm okay with that. Yeah. Um, there is something else I want to talk with you all. Um, and it's about uh, entering into my body and just realizing I'm a physical being. I'm real. And just having conscious control over my movements. It's a weird thing to think about. That I'm a physical being that is aware of all this, and I can control where my hand goes. I can dance it around. Um, I don't have complete control. It's moving, especially my fingers, feels janky. but I am solidifying the neural pathways to hopefully make it easier in the future. And if that doesn't happen, um, oh, I need to free up space. If that doesn't happen, um, then the learning process isn't happening. Um, hopefully, it is happening. Um, yeah, it's weird. I can move my arms and hands and feet consciously. Huh. No, it's not something I just realized, but it's just something I guess, been realizing these past week and a bit. I'm a physical being. I can control my my body. I can control my breath, my eyes, well, my eyelids. It's weird. Uh, yeah, I guess that's what I'm gonna leave it off with. Um, yeah, I don't know if meditation has helped me with this realization because I've been doing quite a bit med quite a bit of meditation. Yeah. Anyways, if you liked the video, um, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Um, and if you have any thoughts to share about what I've said, comment below. I really appreciate having a dialogue with people, discussing things. Yeah, let's hope this video saves because I just got a notification saying that there isn't enough free space. We'll see. Um, yeah, let me see if I can sort that out right now, live. Um, yeah. Um, okay, well, see ya.